Welcome to Believers in Business here on AM 630, The Word. And just like the title says, Believers in Business, this is what we do here on KSLR. We want to introduce you to great people doing great things in San Antonio. And with me is a longtime friend of the station. Her name is Dana Reeder with Reeder Consulting, helping men, women, children of all ages. And that's what we're talking about today. Welcome back, Dana Reeder.
Thank you so much.
Now, with Reeder Consulting, you help everybody, but tell us exactly what you do, Dana.
So I work with 8th graders and above, all the way through above, to help them figure out what makes sense for their life, but through proven assessments such as interest, personality, and aptitude testing.
And why do I need to talk to you?
Because we all need to figure out what we want to do with our lives.
Yeah, we sure do. A little help doesn't hurt, right?
That is so true.
And you do that all the time. But today, if you go back to our podcast page or find the series on Dana Reeder's website, as it's linked to LinkedIn and more there too, you can find it at reederconsulting.com, also linked at collegeandcareerpaths.com. And you can call Dana Reeder at 210-646-4524. But again, each episode we kind of focus on each grade from middle school to high school to graduating high school and into college. And then after you graduate from college, then what do I do after that? We've talked about that first gen of college attendees there. But now it's just, how do you find your purpose? Mm-hmm. Where do you start in figuring that thing called life, that plan that God has for you, Dana Reeder?
Well, first of all, lots of prayer.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be real. I mean, seriously, we have all been there. And if you haven't been there, then you, at some point, I'm afraid will, because I think it's a circle of life of, peaks and valleys of things that we love and what we don't love. And, I think so many times people don't understand the value and the purpose that having a fulfilling career plays in your entire life. I mean, I really think it's the core. I mean, we talk about family as the core, and it serves its purpose in the core. But if you're not happy with your job, it affects every single thing outside of your life. Whether you're interested in volunteering in the community, whether you, have a happy marriage, if you're coming home angry every night, how you project what work looks like onto children who then, have a career of their own. That's one reason why the millennials are saying, I don't want to go up the career ladder. I want to do lots of different things, and I want to have a purpose, and I don't care about the money. I don't care about the house. I mean, their perspective is very different because they witnessed what happened in the downturn. So, I think we should never quit searching to say, really, truly, what is my purpose on this earth?
Did you find your purpose, Dana Reeder?
I did, but let me just tell you, it was a long haul, and in looking back on it all, I see truly how everything was perfectly aligned to put me where I am. But at the time, when we moved here from Dusseldorf, Germany, like many military spouses, I was a careerist before I met my husband. I had my master's degree. I had my own successful career. I had traveled to Europe. I didn't even know if I wanted to get married. And so here comes the man in uniform and throws everything up into the air. And the next thing I know, that my career has taken a back seat, which was something I never, ever envisioned. And most military spouses will tell you the same thing. And living in Europe, you're not allowed to work because of the SOFA agreement. The unemployment rate is so high in Germany that Americans cannot take positions there. So after the course of truly 6 years, lost contacts, big gaps in employment. And so as I kind of sat back and was like, okay, we're settling in San Antonio. What do I want to do with my life? And ultimately, after a couple of years of hardcore searching, I woke up at 2 a.m. I'm not joking. I jumped out of bed. I ran to my computer and I started researching how many aptitude companies were in San Antonio who was doing true career exploration. Because I knew the value of it with having a master's in guidance and counseling and working at universities for years. And ultimately I realized, oh my gosh. And when I created my company, which I never thought I would do, by the way, I'm not a risk taker, but I knew I wanted to have a purpose. I wanted that every day when I wake up, that I'm making an impact on something greater than myself and helping others. I've always cared about connecting people and doing what I can to I mean, we have people we haven't even met to our home for dinner because we, meet them at an event and they're foreigners who happen to be in San Antonio for a limited amount of time and they've never experienced a Thanksgiving dinner. I mean, we do crazy stuff like that. And so, I think it was God.
I think you found out, though, that there was not another company doing what you're doing?
No. There was no one. And I still to this point haven't found anyone in San Antonio doing aptitude testing. There's people who do the strong and the MBTI. You have to go to Dallas.
Yeah.
So, and then hence when I created it, I realized all these other people that I was working with were in the same boat. People were miserable at their work. They just didn't want to talk about it. They were underemployed. They were, had advanced degrees, especially military spouses who couldn't get jobs at Home Depot. I mean, just this craziness of this underlying turmoil that people were in, but they weren't talking about it. And so it has been the greatest blessing of my entire life. I'm very, very honored to get to have those vulnerable conversations because I know everyone wants to have something that makes them want to get out of bed and be proud when they come home at night that they've done something that mattered. And especially as we get older too, we're living longer. There's a lot of older individuals out there who have lost spouses, and isolation becomes a huge issue for depression. And so, I always encourage, or I call my seasoned seniors, 55 and older, AARP has an incredible initiative called Life Reimagined, where you go on and you fill out a profile, and they actually have career counselors that you can contact and they can help you. And so I just think that, we have to continue to dig and find what makes sense for us and not quit.
Well, this is why you're a true testament to what exactly you've lived it. You've gone through it.
Have.
And so I encourage you to tap into the wisdom and the experience of Dana Reeder if you're in that transition period and maybe you're out of work right now and need to figure out where your niche is. Dana Reeder has the tools to help you figure out what that is and get you plugged in, especially with their contacts through the city, through San Antonio Works. You can point out, you just got a ton of resources there at your disposal, but you need some help. Dana Reeder with Reeder Consulting is that help. I encourage you to call this believer in business here. Here's the number. It's 210-646-4524, 210-646-4524. And when I call that number, do you pick up?
I do answer. I do. I will say I'm very excited. We've had such a successful year that I got my first intern. So
Yay.
I'm really, really thrilled. A cute girl who saw me speak at an event and came up to me she emailed me not once, not twice, but 3 times saying that she wanted to work with me, which is just a testament, by the way, to my young adults.
Yeah.
Don't stop, because I was like, no, thank you, I'm good. And she just kept persisting. So I was like, it was just wonderful.
There's a lesson learned.
Isn't it?
Also, too, to encourage you that if you'd like Dana to come speak to your group.
Absolutely. I'm very passionate about talking about, well, if you've listened to any of the podcasts, I think you walk away with that. I'm always very honored and very humbled to be able to talk about it. Because, a lot of people say, well, where do I even begin? And I say, okay, I know as silly as this may sound, but stop and think back. What did I love when I was a kid? Mm-hmm. I mean, I went through this when, we moved here and, I didn't know anyone. I didn't know anyone. And so I was like, okay, well, I love Broadway. And so, you have opportunities where you can usher at the Majestic. I was out doing social media, taking pictures. I love photography, and I was taking pictures at this for this friend of ours who has a business. And this guy walked up, and we got to talking. He was on the Chamber of Commerce, and the next thing I know, they were like, "Well, we're looking for a chairman for the chamber in Helotes. Would you be interested?" 3 months later, I was the chairman of the Helotes Chamber of Commerce because I was out volunteering. Mm-hmm. I mean, had I not, just been going, okay, what do I love to do? I love being outside and, nature. And so kind of think back to, what did you really like to do when you were young? It's so funny how even kids, we can see kind of what their career path could potentially be when they were little, right? Mm. People who are always putting Legos together or solving problems or arguing, right? Attorneys. Right. I mean, you see those little trends, so pay attention to it. And then I think it's so critical to stop and recalibrate and do assessments. Mm-hmm. The information that comes out of assessments. I have clients who are 55 or whatever, and they learn stuff about themselves. I had a client who was an industrial engineer. She was in her 50s and she was not happy. It was midlife crisis. And she, really was looking for, okay, I want to be happy. I want to be happy. Well, she came out very much in the counseling realm. And I said to her, well, why did you go into industrial engineering? And she's like, I don't really remember. She's like, but I remember being up all night studying. I remember my hair falling out. The stress was so overwhelming. Well, on the assessments, what was the least career for her? Industrial engineering.
Wow.
So, it's never too late to go back to the basics.
Yeah.
Especially if the basics have never even been covered before because you didn't know assessments existed. And to walk through the results with a professional and interpret them and then come up with a plan of, okay, what could potentially be next? And I think the accountability is really critical. I've had some of my clients joke going, okay, she pushes me far beyond my comfort zone. Well, to do things differently, you have to be pushed out of your comfort zone with love and care and nurturing. But you also have to think differently because what has gotten you to where you are right now hasn't fulfilled you. So I think it's a wonderful time to open up your worldview.
Fantastic. Dana Reeder there. Just a real short thing, too. I remember a previous conversation, too, where as you talked about these kids maybe figuring out they're maybe a lawyer because they like to argue. You told a story one time about a lawyer who changed careers to become a mechanic.
Yes.
Because you helped him figure that out.
He always wanted to be a mechanic and said, his family pushed him to be an attorney. And that's the other thing. Oftentimes we pick careers because of our families, right?
Yeah.
And so
that's not what God called you to be.
Yes. And I always say to my families, be very careful because ultimately it's going to be your fault, right? They are going to come back and say, I never wanted to do this. You pushed me into doing this.
Well, Dana Reeder can help you figure all that out. All you got to do is pick up the phone, call her, make an appointment. She'll take care of you and give you some hope and direction and guidance at any age, 8th grade,
Yes.
high school, college, senior adult, whatever that looks like. It's not too late is the message, and Dana Reeder is here to help you with Reeder Consulting, collegeandcareerpaths.com, 210-646-4524. That's 210-646-4524. Dana Reeder, thank you. God bless you.
Yeah, thank you. And I just want to end saying I think we all have gifts. I know we all have gifts. And we just need to keep looking to God to help identify ours and to not stop asking for guidance. We all need a purpose. So my hope is that you don't stop searching. Keep asking, keep exploring. And thank you so much, Baron, for the last 10 podcasts. They've been just phenomenal.
Well, they're all available right now on our website at am630theword.com. Find them all on Dana Reeder's LinkedIn page or again at her website, reederconsulting.com. Dana, thank you for being a believer in business.
Absolutely.
I'm Baron Wiley. Thank you for listening to The Word.